Mad City Chapter 1, Mad City Returns, Mad City OG, no matter what you want to call it, seemingly it is going to happen. Mad City seems like they're going to be bringing Chapter 1 back. Whether this is brand new information to you or you're quite experienced with knowing about this already, buckle up because there's a lot to talk about, including the real reason behind why they are doing this and what this means for not only Chapter 2, but also Chapter 3. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, literally last week on the 16th of November, Mad City released this tweet right here. We're considering releasing an official OG version of Mad City. 54 minutes left on the poll at the time that I'm recording this, and it is 84% yes, 16% no from 3,846 votes. So there are a lot of people that say yes. As you can probably tell, I have actually said no, and I will get into why I've said no a bit later on. It's not because I don't want Chapter 1, but I think it could have been done a little bit differently. They then, under this tweet, explained a little bit more about what they're actually doing, because it was just said that we're considering releasing a version. So this kind of covers a little bit more about it. It says that Chapter 1's initially planned to focus on receiving security updates. So I think they're going to patch some kind of game-breaking bugs. If you don't know, one of my most popular shorts actually is showing off a bug in Chapter 1 where you can actually drive any vehicle for free. So I think vehicle things like that, maybe other security things to kind of balance the economy, make sure there's no glitches, there's no easy exploits and stuff like that, I think is a priority before they release it, which is understandable. Chapter 1 progress, including vehicles and items, is exclusive to Chapter 1 and won't carry over to Chapter 2. So say you grind in Chapter 1, get the Fury, and you don't have it in Chapter 2, you're not going to have it in Chapter 2. It's going to be a completely separate game. And that also means that there is a hard reset of all data within Chapter 1, which means starting fresh. If you were playing in Chapter 1, when Chapter 2 released, all of your data from Chapter 1 just carried over, and it was literally just immediate. You had everything you had in Chapter 1 in Chapter 2, and now that's not going to be a thing. It's going to be a complete reset, kind of like how it was earlier this year when they actually released Chapter 1 for, I think it was a week or two. It was literally just a brand new account. I think you had your game passes that you already bought, but not anything else. And then finally, Chapter 2 will continue to grow and get updates and new content. That's a very important point right there. It will continue to receive updates, and they will also review how Chapter 1's received and plan updates for Chapter 2 accordingly. So if we say we love the tram, they might be like, okay, people were really liking this tram heist. It's the most robbed heist in Chapter 1 by far. Let's add a tram heist to Chapter 2. You know, something like that. And as I mentioned earlier, it seems like it's got a very positive response. And I find that a little bit weird because it's a separate game, in my opinion, right? And this is why I voted no. I think it would make a lot more sense if they did a Fortnite approach. So Fortnite just recently added the OG Chapter 1 season for about a month. It's still going on. It's only got like 2 weeks left, I believe. And I think that makes a lot more sense. You know, bringing Chapter 1 back to Mad City, basically making it so instead of Season 3, maybe Season 3 is a bit delayed, and we've got like a month, 1 to 3 months of Chapter 1 inside of Chapter 2. So all your Chapter 2 data will be carried over to Chapter 1. Maybe they'll actually revert some of the old vehicle revamps, like the Adversary. It looks new now. Maybe they revert it back to the original one. That could be really cool. As well as that, all your progress and stuff like that will carry over, but things like maybe the Chapter 2 UI and the Chapter 2 like movement mechanics and maybe the driving, stuff like that, will actually be in this Chapter 1 season. So it's basically like Fortnite with kind of new elements mixed with the old elements. I think that would have been really cool. But instead they're making a separate game. I do know why they're doing that. We're going to cover that a little bit later on. I feel like they would have got so many more players if they did an actual OG season for like 1 to 3 months. So that's everything regarding Twitter, but on Discord, in the Mad City Discord server, Eli, the Mad City manager, has been very vocal, talking to a lot of people about this Chapter 1 announcement since it was announced. So let's cover what he said. So as I said, I wish there was an OG season, but another kind of aspect that people thought was to actually just have our data in a separate game. But according to Eli, there's no way to bring data across different place universes. If you don't know what he means by this, Chapter 1 is going to be a separate game to Chapter 2. There's no way to actually carry over your Chapter 2 data to another Roblox experience. Apparently that's impossible. If you're thinking that that's what happened in Chapter 2, no, because the Chapter 1 game turned into the Chapter 2 game. It's basically the exact same game. If we went back to 2019, the exact same game you're playing right now would be just Chapter 1. It was just an update to that game. This is going to be a completely separate game, hence you can't carry over the data. Chapter 1 apparently won't actually receive any updates, which is completely understandable. They're working on Chapter 2 right now. Why would they update Chapter 1? Maybe they will with like the odd exploit and odd bug fix, but it won't receive major content updates. I guess unless if Chapter 1 just becomes the most popular one and it exceeds Chapter 2, then I assume that they'll probably start updating chapter 1, but as of right now, when it releases, it's not going to receive any content updates. Eli was also asking people what was everyone's favorite version of chapter 1, because that's a good point. When chapter 1 actually releases, what season is it going to be? Is it going to be the complete OG day 1 Mad City map, or is it going to be maybe season 6, season 5 with loads of snow around, season 4 with the volcano and kind of the toxic bridge, or could it be the latest update just before chapter 2 with the fog, the purple mist around? Personally, I would love season 6, the update that's just before season 7. I believe that was the prison update. So you've got the prison kind of revamp, and then you've also got the map expansion and the normal season 6 map. That was personally was my favorite map. It seems like Eli is considering season 5. He said a bit later on, actually the next day, that he's thinking season 5. Maybe if they release it in December, I think that makes a lot of sense to actually have it in season 5. I would just love season 6. And then Eli dropped the biggest bombshell ever. This is the reason why they're actually adding chapter 1 back to the game. Depending on if the players want it, and judging by the poll, they definitely do. We're thinking chapter 1 will help us get more resources to make chapter 2/3. He says, I mean, the game sequels just stop at 2. Are we Valve? He is talking about chapter 3 right there. It is not chapter 2 season 3. He's talking about chapter 2 and chapter 3. So chapter 1 should, in his eyes, help with chapter 2's development and also the making of chapter 3. I don't know when that will release, probably in like 5 years knowing them, but at least we do know that it is going to happen eventually. So yeah, there you go. I hope I was able to offer you some insight of what's happening regarding Mad City OG, Mad City Returns, Mad City Chapter 1, whatever you want to call it. It does seem like it is going to happen. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and tap the bell so you don't miss all the content I'm going to be making, because I've got some brilliant ideas for chapter 1, even some old videos I used to do. We're going to bring them back to kind of the current stuff in chapter 1 once again, so make sure you stay tuned for that and tap the bell so you don't miss it. If you want to check out my previous video playing the new bank update, the brand new bank has got the revamp that we've been waiting for a few months now, and it's finally released to the game. Multiple floors, looks very modern. It's a brand new location as well. Check out my first thoughts of robbing it in that video right there, and I'll see you there. Thank you so much for watching this video. My name is GMD, and as always, peace out.